Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are fine and fabulous. So, let's start our today's new topic. Our today's new topic is the Happy Prince. There was a prince who had everything he wanted, and he was never sad. So, everyone called him the Happy Prince. But alas, one day he died. People made his statue. The statue was made of lead. Two sapphires was stuck into his eyes. The statue was put on the top of a pillar in the middle of the town. In the country, the winters were very cold, so every autumn the swallow flew away to a warmer place. And that year, however, one little swallow was last to leave. That night, the swallow came to the town. He stopped to rest on the top of the pillar, right between the feet of the happy prince. The little swallow was just going off to sleep when a drop of water came down on his head. He looked up and saw tears was falling from the eyes of the statue. "Why are you crying?" asked the swallow. "Because of all unhappy things I can see in the town." "Far off there is a house in a poor little street," said the prince. "Inside there is a woman, and inside there is a bed close to her. There is a little boy. He is very ill, but his mother has no money to pay the doctor's fees. I think he is going to die. Little swallow, will you take her to the red ruby from my sword? She can sell it and buy food." So the swallow pecked out the ruby and flew off with it. The little swallow flew till he came to the poor's house. The boy was toying about his bed. His mother had fallen asleep with her head on the table, and she was so tired. The swallow put his red jewel close by her. Back flew with the swallow to tell the prince what he had done. "It is funny," he said, "but I don't feel cold any more." "That's because you did a good deed," said the prince. All the same, the swallow still wanted to fly away to the warm land where his brothers and sisters had gone. So that night he said to the prince, "Goodbye, I am off now." "Little swallow," replied the prince, "do not go now. I can see a poor young man in a bare room, so where there is no fire. He is trying to write, but his hand is so cold to hold the pen. But he has no food to eat. Take out one sapphire and of my eyes." "But I cannot do that," cried swallow. "Please do, I ask," begged the prince. So the swallow picked out one of the sapphire from the statue's eyes and flew it with the room of the poor young man. He dropped the sapphire into the bunch of flowers, and when the young man saw it, was pleased that he forgot he was hungry. "Now I can pay my rent, buy some food," he said, and back flew. "And now goodbye," he added. "Do not go now," pleaded the prince again. "Look down. Do you see that little girl? She was trying to sell matches, but her hands were so cold, so she had dropped them in the wet, and now they are not of use. Her father will beat her when she gets home. She is crying. Pick out my another sapphire of out eyes and give it to her." "But if I do, won't be able to see at all," cried the swallow. "You will be blind." "Please do as I say," begged the prince. So swallow took it out and dropped it in the little girl's hand. How pretty! She smiled when she saw it, and girls ran home to give it to her father. Back one more flew the swallow. He said to prince, "I cannot leave you now that you are blind. I will stay with you, and you can use my eyes that you cannot see." The prince wanted the swallow to fly over the town and tell him what he saw. One day, the swallow saw two little boys lying down under a bridge, trying to keep each other warm. Along came a policeman and told them to go home. He did not know that he had no home to go, just got up and went out hand to hand in the rain. When he heard this, the prince was very sad. "I have no jewels, but my clothes are made of gold. You will take it off and give it to those poor children." Every day the swallow says someone who need help, and prince's clothes has been given away. He stood on the top of his pillar, looking dull and grey, but the faces of the poor children were longer white, the cheeks were red, and thin arms, legs grew nice and round. They are no longer beg for bread. Goodbye, replied the prince, and something broke inside him. It was his heart. Next day, the mayor and town councillor passed by the pillar and looked up the statue. Dear mayor, how shabby our prince looked like, they cried. He seems to have lost all his jewels and someone has stolen his gold clothes. And look, there is a dead bird at his feet. We can't have that here. It must be taken away at once. We had better take the statue down too, said another councillor. We put one better on its place. Who shall we put his time? Mine, of course, said the mayor. They took down the prince's statue and melted the lead to make the new one. But the workmen found a broken heart inside that would not melt. So they threw it must heap, where the little dead swallow was lying. That night God told his angels, bring me that two most precious things from the town. They brought him to the broken heart and the dead swallow. And God said, you are right, this little bird shall always sing in my garden of paradise. You know, kiddos, we should do right things to the others. I hope you all like this story. So say bye-bye.